Yo, yo, yo. What it do, peeps? What's going on, man? Happy Monday. Hope everything's going well. Yeah, I don't know. We got video gaming news for today, January 15th, and then we're going to go play some Fallout New Vegas, baby. We had a nice, chill FPS weekend. It was nice. I needed a little bit of a, I don't know, break away from the playthroughs we'd been doing, and the weekend was nice. So we did some nice FPS stuff, some battle bit, little bit of some Shatterline. I haven't played Shatterline in a long time, so that was fun, man. It was good. But we'll get back into Fallout New Vegas today. It'll be a good time. Hope everybody's staying warm, man. If it's cold where you are, because it's cold here, and I don't know. Let's go ahead and do what we do. Let's dive in here and find out what's going on in the world of video games. Let's go, baby. Cool. Let's get it. Yeah, we've talked about that. This is this Sea of Thieves? Oh no. Wait, what? Oh, Immortality released for PS5. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay. Jesus. Dude, The Last of Us Part 2 didn't even need to be remastered. It feels so terrible to see so many companies neglecting games that are iconic and beloved and are so old and they need to be remastered. For instance, Red Dead Redemption 1, right? RDR1 is 13 years old, and it got ported to modern consoles, and they did not touch it. Talking about Rockstar. They didn't touch it at all, and they charged everybody $50 for it. Disgusting. And then you get a company like Naughty Dog, who takes a game that's not even 4 years old and remasters it. Why? It's not like this game's going to turn out to look a whole lot better, other than the fact that they were scared to do anything different, and you know, they just were out of ideas to do anything different. It feels terrible to see companies do this thing. When did The Last of Us Part 2 originally release? June 19th of 2020. It's 3.5 years old. 3.5 years old, they're already pushing out a remaster. But we've talked about it. It's...
Now that we're friends again, is it okay if I pet you?
Thanks, dude. Exactly, dude. Exactly. I've already talked about it. It just...
10win just resubscribed for 29 months.
Yeah.
29 months. Greater than D-Yus. Also,
Yes.
yeah, Naughty Dog, remastering a game that virtually will look exactly the same. You can take screenshots from both games and you can't see any difference. And the roguelike mode,
dude.
PFT, should have been a free update. Like GAU Ragnarok's roguelite mode.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it should have been. I agree wholeheartedly with that sentiment, dude. Thanks, brother. 29 months, dude. Jesus. Yo, thanks for the Subaruski, dude. Yeah, I mean, why, you know, was it like, why would you not just repay the fans? You know what I mean? Just like Sony Santa Monica Santa Monica Studios has done with God of War Ragnarok. Exactly. They're trying to be like, oh, well, it's not just a remaster. We're adding a roguelike mode to it as well. Repay the fans for making your IP so ridiculously profitable. How about that? How about if that's all you're doing? If that's all you're doing, you know, and yeah, I get it, okay? Yeah, people can upgrade. People can upgrade this, right? If you already own it, people can upgrade for $10. Those people should get it for free. For sure. They should get the remastered version of this for free if you already own it. And, you know, there's no need to remaster this. You're exactly right, dude. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they would. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Which is asinine and is part of the problem here, you know. It doesn't make any sense. And you're right, dude. You're going to be able to take screenshots and look at them side by side, and it will look minimally different. Minimally. Sometimes you will be able to, you'll have to really look to see a difference here. It's not going to be a big difference, right? It's just, this is a disgusting thing to see out of a corporation like this. I hate it, dude. It gets me really, really, you know, worked up, if you couldn't tell. I've talked about this. I've got articles on the YouTube page talking about this Last of Us remastered bullcrap. It's so gross to see Naughty Dog do this. And again, we have a problem on both sides of the coin here. We've got companies that are way too quick to remaster a game, and then we've got companies that won't even remaster a game that gets re-released 13 years later for modern platforms. Don't even touch it at all, you know, and then charge $50. So there's a problem on both sides of the coin here in the industry. It's really gross. Tinwin, thank you, buddy, very much. I appreciate that. Subaruski, dude. 29 months. Incredible, dog. So much support. Thank you, man. What are you playing right now, dude? What are you playing? And what are you looking forward to the most right now coming out? Oh, have you? Yeah, just refuse to remaster, relaunch games, period. Yep. PoE 2. Oh, God. The feels there. Jesus. The problem with me trying to dive back into a game like that is that I would not be able to play a Path of Exile again. Or Path of Exile. Pillars of Eternity. Excuse me. PoE. I always will do that. Pillars of Eternity, to, you know, getting back into either one, Pillars 1 or Pillars 2, getting back into those games, would be, I would never be able to rush those games. And the fact that it took me 300 hours to get through both of those games the first time, I would probably be able to play them faster now, you know, but not a whole lot faster because they're just too good, you know. Yeah, Thursday. We're going to watch that here, dude, if you want to watch it with us. I don't know if you do or not, but we will watch it here live. Yeah, that's a good spot to touch on this, actually. The Xbox Developer Direct, guys, this pops off on Thursday. That'll be 2 p.m. our time, so we'll watch that here live. It's most of our European friendos, that's going to be like, what, 9 o'clock p.m. or 2100 hours. That's what it would be for you. So 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. Convert that to so it's like noontime Pacific, all of that stuff. So we've got stuff coming out of the Developer Direct. We'll watch it live here in the stream on Thursday. So, yep, that's about 8 hours into our stream time. Yep. Maybe if we're lucky, some Tango news. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? That'd be awesome. I'd love some new stuff out of Tango, you know? That would be right on par for what happened last year, wouldn't it? They're not promoting anything Tango, obviously. You know, we're getting like Ninja Theory with the Senua's Saga, and we got, you know, Avowed and all of that kind of stuff. But it'd be on par for what happened last year. They hinted to it in Hi-Fi Rush. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Evil Within stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think they're far enough along to actually unveil anything right now, or to even tease anything right now? We'll find out. We'll find out. Maybe. Yeah, it could be. God dang, dude. Oh, Jesus, I hope they're working on the Evil Within 3. You know, that's one of those things that I was trying to compare. You know, the Evil Within felt so good. Those games were so good. And, you know, like the safe space and the mirrors and everything. I was kind of comparing something that I really did not enjoy with Alan Wake 2 with what Remedy did with Alan Wake 2, like the safe space, your mind space, right? It felt real clunky. It felt real, and most of it was because of the, like, the boards that you would have to use to put all of the flippin', little, like, Post-its up onto and stuff whenever you found new clues and everything. It got real monotonous. There's different ways that different games have done that kind of thing, and sometimes they work out really well, and other times it just feels trudgy. Alan Wake 2 felt trudgy to me. The Evil Within did a great job. Tango did a great job with that mirror space, dude, as a place to, like, do upgrades, take a breather, you know what I mean? Have like opening those little, like, morgue doors and stuff for extra loot and everything. I felt like they did a fantastic job for a bit of a breather space, you know what I mean, in the Evil Within. And I didn't like the way it was done overall in Alan Wake 2. I wasn't a big fan of Alan Wake 2, though, actually. A lot of what that game brought to the table was just too much of a cinematic experience. It really throws me off, and I'm not a big fan of that. But every time I thought about that, every time, the more I played Alan Wake 2 and the more I was thinking about, God dang, dude, I'm so tired of having to come back here and deal with this stupid mind space, you know? Listen, oh, the Claire de Lune. Yeah, that's true, dude. Yeah, have you listening for that? Yeah, that's a good point, dude, no doubt. Every time I would play Alan Wake 2 again and I would trudge through that mind space and get to that point, I would think about the Evil Within and how much better I felt like they did with that kind of implementation, that mechanic, you know. Jesus. A lot of people loved Alan Wake 2 though, and I feel like I'm on like the other side of the coin there. I was not a big fan, dude. I thought Alan Wake 1 was way better. Kind of weird. But yeah. So everybody, don't forget about this. We will be watching this live here in the channel so we can hang out together and get a taste of what's coming there. I don't have a lot of expectations, to be honest, for Indiana Jones. Okay? I just don't. But I'm excited to see what they're going to show about Avowed. I'm hesitant about Avowed. Yeah, I've talked about that. Ara History Untold, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. I'm actually... as a game that I was initially really psyched about with Senua's Saga, I've become pretty hesitant about this one too, because I feel like this is going to be something. Was the most recent Wolfenstein game bad? Dude, I haven't played Wolfenstein games since way back, you know, like the old school banger Wolfenstein games. I didn't play the modern ones. It was pretty bad, huh? Huh. You mean from the is that our Machine Game? They're the ones that did the is that what you meant? They're the devs behind the Wolfenstein series? Interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Here's I've talked about this a lot. Whether you talk about something like Final Fantasy 16 or you talk about Alan Wake 2, I feel like more and more games are becoming this cinematic experience rather than primarily video game, you know? Youngblood was really bad, was it? Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Good to know, dude. Well, did they make all of the modern ones? Were they the devs behind all of the modern ones? Because some of them were decent, weren't they? But I don't know who made all of them. Yeah, they were. I know that some of them were entertaining enough. I don't think they were like mind-blowing necessarily, but But the most recent one, Youngblood's, that's the most recent one. First one was great. Second one was good, but not as good. Youngblood was awful. So kind of showing that trend of maybe degrading as far as quality goes, huh? That's not a good look. Yeah. I think Senua's Saga, they keep talking about how every time they show us a trailer, it's gameplay. I don't believe it. I think that they're able to call it gameplay because the difference between what gameplay used to be and a cinematic was a stark contrast, right? It was much easier to tell the difference. And nowadays, it's negligible. It's very hard to tell the difference between the two. And quite often, there'll be like, kind of like the way Alan Wake 2 felt. It felt like I was in control, and then I wasn't in control. And then I was in control, and then I wasn't in control. I was in control, and then I wasn't in control. And dude, I think that's what Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is going to feel like. I think it's going to be a game where you're you know, only in control of what's happening in the game roughly half the time. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of the fact that you're going to be playing this experience that looks really good, but it doesn't really come off like a true video game. It's going to come off like a game that it's more of a visual experience than it is an actual video game. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, if you go look at the trailers they have, it's like, this is gameplay, you know? But it's like, literally, the most that could happen with that in gameplay is maybe holding a joystick or pressing a button every once in a while. It's not true gameplay. And most of the time, it looks like that's a few and far between for what they're giving you. You know? It's like, every once in a while, that might be happening. But that's like a sporadic thing that could be happening during what they're showing you. The rest of it is just you're letting go of control of what's happening, and you're just being shown this like cinematic experience. To me, that's not a video game, dude. That's not a video game. Yeah. I mean, and I'll stick to the sentiment that I've been expressing here lately a lot when I talk about this kind of thing. There's something to be said for great cinematics. They can be very immersive. They're great for storytelling and you know, diving into the lore of a universe and things like that. Cinematics can be a great thing, you know, and great cinematics are a nice even reprieve from, you know, the sometimes very engaging and sometimes also exhausting gameplay that you deal with from time to time. So it's a nice break on occasion. I'll give you a great example. I think that Santa Monica Studios, I haven't played Ragnarok yet, but 2018's God of War, they did a great job. I played that game on the hardest difficulty, and it was very difficult. So it felt exhausting quite often, getting through sections. And then on the rare occasion where you would come across a cinematic, it was really nice to just like let go for a second. Let go, immerse yourself in what the story they were telling. The cinematics were breathtaking and beautiful and action-packed and fantastic. You know what I mean? And on that front, I love cinematics when they're done well like that, and they're put into a game at the right time, and they provide you those kinds of real substantial pieces of storytelling and lore. But whenever it's just consistently, the game is making you put down control, pick back up the controls, let go of the controls, pick back up, let go, pick up, let go. Like Final Fantasy 16, that game, as much gameplay as there was at least that much cinematic. I don't want that, dude. I don't want that. If I want to watch a show, I'll go watch a show, you know? I feel like that's too much. It's too much, man. Well, I mean, and I'm saying that kind of metaphorically also, because I played Alan Wake 2 on PC and mouse. But I felt like that was the case. I played Alan Wake 2 on PC, right? I played it on, you know, yeah, nothing to put, that's true. But I mean, I was on keyboard and mouse, and I would constantly just be like, oh, here we go again, and I would just take my hands off the controls, you know? And it was like, God dang it, dude. Like, why is this just constantly a thing? It's like, okay, let's go again. Oh, God, here we go, you know? Okay, let's go. Oh, Jesus Christ, you know? Like, it just feels like you're constantly being disengaged from being a part of the actual gameplay experience, you know? And I hate that. I hate that, dude. I want to be in control the majority of the time. That's what a video game is to me. I don't understand it. If I think that, you know, we're getting too over the edge of, I mean, it was inevitable that we were going to like merge into this world of meshing video games with, you know, cinematics and movie making and things like that. And it's been very, very good in large part. But it feels like we're crossing over the line too much to where it's like they're trying to make a lot of these titles be majority just a cinematic movie type experience where you don't do too much as a game player. And for me, that's not what games are supposed to be about. And for me, that's a huge turnoff. And one of the reasons I'm a huge kind of naysayer about my experience with Alan Wake 2, not even talking about the fact I got soft locked out of that game. You know, I could have loaded a save that was 6.5 hours old, but yeah, you know, not going to replay 6.5 hours of a game that I'm already not real stoked about just to avoid a soft lock. Sorry. But I'm just not a fan of it, dude. I'm not a fan of it. And it worries me about the way a lot of these developers are progressing in the way that they feel like games need to be made, like a movie. I don't think that's not going to be something that appeals to me, dude. Not at all. So, but we'll see what comes here, dude. And I am excited about this too. It'll be nice. It's one of the first big kind of like showcases of the year, and it'll be nice to see what happens here. Yep. If you guys need this, that way you know exactly, bookmark it, whatever. There it is. Let's keep seeing what we have here. Thanks again for the sub, brother. Appreciate it. And what are you playing PoE 2 as? What kind of character? Are you doing like a hardcore run or anything? Or are you just playing for funsies, dude? We talked about the MSI Claw. You know, I've seen the Asus ROG Ally has been just dropping in price, dude. Dropping in price. Especially their lower tier model. Apparently the processor in that is not up to par with where it needs to be. And, you know, the Asus ROG Ally was originally releasing at like a $900 and $1,000 price point. And, dude, I've seen the lower tier model hitting like $400 right now. Which is like lowest tier Steam Deck, you know, it's kind of wild. But there's a ton of these. We've already looked at the MSI Claw. You know, there's a ton of these hardware manufacturers coming out with handheld devices and everything. So I think the best thing you can do if you're in the market for a handheld PC gaming device is to do your homework, educate yourself. If anybody has specific questions, then we can flesh that out and talk about it. I can try to help people make decisions. I don't mind doing that. But the best thing you can do is educate yourself. There's a lot of different devices. They all fit a different kind of budget, really, different kinds of hardware and operating systems, things of that nature. But I think all in all, they are presenting a great segue for people to get into PC gaming without as more of a plug and play kind of device, and the mobility of it as a dual role kind of system like the Switch is a great thing. I think these handheld devices are a fantastic way for people to kind of start trying to dive into PC gaming, you know, that haven't before. But we're getting a lot of them. There'll be a lot of sports stuff. When we do our video gaming news search, after we do a few pages of this search, we'll take out all the sports stuff too. Gaming Bible stuff, it can just get wrecked, dude. It's all flipping just clickbait, man. I need to just be pulling all the Gaming Bible stuff out of my searches. It's terrible. Let's take a look at this Atari 400 Mini and see exactly what this is. We looked at this a little bit. We didn't see a ton about it. One X Player X1 gaming handheld. Let's take another look at that real quick. Sony taking a new direction with upcoming PlayStation games. Let's see here. Okay. So, Suicide Squad is easily the biggest game Rocksteady has worked on. And I'm going to go ahead and call it. It will also be not even close to the most beloved or profitable game that they have ever released. Exactly, Tinwin, yeah. I've talked a lot about this game. I've been following this game for a long time through its development. You want to talk about a terrible look from a company that a lot of people had fell in love with Rocksteady because of the, Batman Arkham series. This is a pretty gross look to have a game come out, a game as a service, right? A third-person shooting, loot and shooter. They apparently, we've already seen a lot of media outlets and stuff have gotten their hands on early copies of this game, and they're basically saying exactly what I expected this game to be. It's it feels fairly polished, but it gets real repetitive real quick. It's riddled with monetization, battle passes, cosmetics, you name it, and it's a AAA price tag game. $70 for the base game, and $100 if you want to be the final beta testers, meaning $100 if you want to buy the deluxe version that gets you into the game 3 days early, which really does nothing for you. Literally, you're just a final beta tester. It's you're gonna have a ton of DLC that some will be free, some will cost. It's riddled with monetization, and to see these games come out that are games as a service, as it were, that are so heavily monetized and look just like kind of a scum fest. I think it's appropriate for people to be weary about these titles. And you take something like Suicide Squad and you compare it to some games that have come out that don't need to do this kind of thing, If your game is really good, it'll be profitable. That's all there is to it. Right? If your game is really good, it'll be profitable. You can take a look at a AAA studio shadow dropping a game last year in Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Softworks, right? Tango dropped a AAA title at a $30 price point, and it was very good for them. It wasn't a game as a service, right? In theory, right? Yeah, in theory, it's likely to be, but we've seen this be the case quite often. Where, here's the thing: I think it's more acceptable, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at here. It's more acceptable. Random time. There are absolutely games that are very good that get overlooked. There's no doubt about that. But usually, games that are very good at least get spread through like word of mouth about, everybody needs to try this out. People that are actually really deep into the world of video games. The promotion of something like Hi-Fi, there was no promotion. There was no marketing or anything like that. You know what I mean? Pillars 2 was overlooked, but it has also over time become something that more and more people have played. It has become more and more popular over time because people found out how good it was, right? I'm not saying that no game doesn't get overlooked, so I should, maybe retract that statement a little bit. And there are a ton of like indie games that might, that are very good that tend to get overlooked and stuff too because they just don't have the like startup indie studios. Nobody knows anything about them. Not enough people try those games. Things like that. It happens. But I think where people are more understanding and accepting of the monetization is if you're coming out with a game as a service, right? And it's a lower price point, or it's even for sure free to play, right? Game as a service, free to play, or it's a lower price point entry fee. People are more accepting of the fact of what the reason why you might need to do so much monetization, right? We understand why that's a thing. But when you're coming out with a game that is this expensive off the shelf and you're already just slapping everybody in the face with a ton of monetization, there's only one way that comes off. That the only thing you're concerned with is money. That's it. That's the way this always looks to me, and I know that's the way this looks to so many other gaming enthusiasts. It's not a good look. First and foremost, before you ever, we caught word of this around a year ago of how many screenshots we had seen with in-game, microtransaction shop and, battle pass and you name it. It was riddled with stuff, and it's always a huge concern because it's like, well, they can't have a huge aim towards, the good content probably if all they really care about is money, because we've seen that happen too many times, right? Not that it can't, but it probably doesn't. It's just the way it is, dude. And I think that for all those fans out there of Rocksteady, there's going to be a good amount of disappointment here, I think. We've seen a lot of reviews already come out, and they're like, yeah, it's mediocre at best, The gameplay is mediocre. It's repetitive. The cutscenes are pretty good, but if you want to compare this $70 price point to what you get out of, I think people have to really start taking a look at this. $70 price point for what you're going to get out of Suicide Squad and then still be slapped in the face with monetization all the time, or spending $60 to $70 on a game that you'll get 100 to 200 hours of game time out of. Everybody's preferences are different, but this is something we really have to start taking a look at here, man. This is crazy. It's the same thing we talked about Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is apparently a very good game, but it's fairly bleak on game content, right? It feels a little bit bad on the side of Insomniac, I think, with the main storyline only being like, what was it, like 15 hours? 15 hours of main storyline content at a $70 price point? Is that worth it to you? That's not really worth it to me. I know there's a lot of side content and stuff you can do too, but normally a game that feels AAA price tag worthy, I'm looking at like roughly, give or take a little bit, 25-30 hours worth of main storyline content. If it's a single player campaign type of game, Otherwise, it's feeling a little lacking, no matter how good the content is, really. Sometimes if the content's just stupid good, it can make up for that a little bit if it's lacking in time some, but I don't know, man. I think people really need to start taking a hard look at what some of these developers are bringing to the table and trying to make us pay a AAA price tag for, We've talked about this. Yeah, I kind of touched on this real quick. if you haven't heard, like T-Pain is apparently working with Rockstar in, on GTA 6. But part of this contract, part of him agreeing to be part of this was he could no longer be a part of NoPixel. We all know how Rockstar has dealt with this whole situation of like NoPixel and basically anything else that has tried to create communities and stuff like that, or like server space and everything off of the GTA experience. They haven't been real nice about it, and here they are again, finding a way to pull a big name off of the NoPixel side and everything. So I don't know. I haven't really dove into it too much, taken a dive into it, but that's basically what's going down here if you didn't know. Wait, what? Yo, this is actually kind of wild. RE2 remake by modders surfaces online, leaving gamers impressed. Yo, I've got an article that's going to be probably going up later probably on Wednesday. I'll have more time on Wednesday. We've talked about all the Capcom issues, man. Capcom is basically just destroying their fan base right now, especially their modding fan base, all because somebody used a nude Chun-Li mod basically, but they are not only using Denuvo, but they're using their own in-house like DRM stuff and just destroying the modding community behind their games, and it's a pretty bad look. We talked about it a lot. I've got an article that's going to be going up. It's already on Twitch. I mean, here, I can show you. We talked about it. That way I don't have to, like, cover all of this. But it's... where is this? Yeah, here you go. It's not on YouTube yet, but I got it made last night and highlighted out on our Twitch page. So, crushing their fan base with the anti-modding crusade. Yeah, there you go. So take a look at that. But so it's kind of wild that this just popped up too. So let's take a look at this and see what's going on. Prince of Persia's actually looking pretty decent, dude. Hey, Tinwin, you still hanging, bro? Have you seen the Prince of Persia stuff? I mean, Metroidvania. Look, and dude, you know me. I'm not an Ubi fan. Yeah. Have you seen the Prince of Persia stuff? Like Metroidvania, new Prince of Persia game? I'm not Yeah, they look pretty good. That's what I was... Yeah, I've already touched on it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of interested. Yeah, I haven't played any of it either. I had one of the community members here was talking about how they played the demo and wasn't real impressed. It felt kind of lacking on the combat side, and it was a fairly short demo and stuff. And I was like, well, Metroidvanias tend to progress quite a bit as you continue to play with different kinds of abilities and attacks and stuff like that. So who knows? It could get better as you play, but the reviews that I'm seeing right now are pretty solid, man, and it's interesting me in potentially playing the game. You know me, man, I'm not an Ubisoft fan, but are the reviews going yeah, this is about on par with where I looked last time. And 86, 67. The thing that always is worrisome about me with like looking at something like Metacritic though is because we've seen this happen with something like Starfield as well, right? Big studios tend to get maybe inflated scores a little bit, right? As opposed to what maybe users will review and rate this game at, which always makes me feel a little bit like either critics are not willing to actually call out some of these studios for their products being a little bit worse than they actually are, or their palms are actually being greased a little bit by those studios. I don't know, but sometimes Metacritic can the critic reviews can feel a little inflated. And I'm worried. I want to wait and see what users are saying about the game before I decide whether I want to dive in or not. Because Ubi's not one of those companies I'm really big on supporting right now. But it's a good look. And I mean, I have to say, and I've said this before, the trailers and everything for this game were really appealing to me with the whole Metroidvania scene and everything. You know, it looks pretty solid. And it's supposed to be like 25 to 30 hours worth of game time, so that's not bad, you know, not bad at all. So we'll see. We'll see. I might end up playing it. It's kind of on the schedule in a let's take a look once it releases and maybe play it. So we'll see what happens. I just wanted to see if you had seen it at all. Because I know we both like the whole Metroidvania thing, you know. Yo, if you want a dope Battlefield experience without the significant bugs and supporting terrible company, which comes out of buying a game like buying Battlefield games in the developer DICE and the publisher of EA, go play BattleBit Remastered. That game's a lot of fun. It is not the same graphical fidelity. It is a poly game, but it is developed by 3 people, and it is very, very good. Go play BattleBit Remastered. If anybody's buying into the next Battlefield game on pre-order or release, you are out of your mind. Out of your mind. With how bad these games have gotten, nobody should be buying Battlefield. What a hot piece of garbage these games have become. And I'll say the same thing about Call of Duty. Call of Duty, you want to look at the most recent Call of Duty game. This is the what is it? Yeah, Modern Warfare 3. Where are we at? Search that. This is where we're at right now in the industry. You know what I mean? Look at the review scores for this game. This game, only being out less than 2 months for the year of 2023, became the second highest selling game in the entirety of the video gaming industry. Not even out for 2 months of the entire year. And look at these reviews. This is what we do to ourselves. It's disgusting. Is this a full representation of everybody that owns these games? No. But reviews are a pretty good, consensus baseline of what most people are going to experience as long as you have a large data set, right? And this is over 6,700 reviews for Call of Duty at a 31% positive. That's a 3.1 out of 10, okay? Now, go to Metacritic. Of over 1,700 reviews, it's a 2.0 from users. That's probably review bombed a little bit there. But even critics said this game's a 56. That's a 5.6 out of 10. Right? And this is the second highest selling game of 2023. This is the metaphorical bed we're making for ourselves as consumers and video game enthusiasts. Yo, Fallout Grim, what up, friendo? I'm great, dude. Good morning to you also, buddy. Happy Monday. How was your weekend? This is just a terrible look at what these developers have gotten into a mode of doing to us. You know, they produce crap content, crap games, and they know it'll sell because what's it say on it? Call of Duty, right? and then they sell a ton of copies, and then they do the same thing again over and over and over. And the only way it's going to stop is whenever people decide to quit buying these piece of crap games that are being developed. It's terrible, dude. Pretty good weekend? Love to hear it, buddy. Nice, man. Nice. What'd you get up to, man? But same thing here. The reason I led into Modern Warfare is because, you know, now they're trying to, like, hype up Battlefield. EA's trying to hype up Battlefield, right? The next Battlefield is going to be the best Battlefield we've ever seen. Dude, Battlefield has been balls for a while now. And the last one is no exception, for sure. The last Battlefield was terrible. It was so bad. And so until they show us they can do anything decent, nobody should be buying these flipping games. We've got this up. Smite 2 was announced. Yeah, we covered that, dude. That's kind of cool. Hanging with the girl, goofing around on games. Word, dude. A lot of the homies weren't on this, this weekend, weirdly. It be that way sometimes, though, huh? Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I had a chill weekend, dude. I just played a bunch of FPS games, man. Yeah. I don't know. Dude, I've just been doing so many, like, hours worth of, like, long playthrough stuff that we got done with the money DLC and Fallout New Vegas, and I was like, I'm just gonna do some chill FPS stuff for the weekend, man. So it was good. It felt good to just do some FPS games for the weekend. But it's gonna be nice to get back into Fallout New Vegas, try to finish that up this week, maybe, you know, depending on how much time I have left in the base game. But it'll be fun, dude. We'll have a good week here. Good to see you, buddy. Glad you had a good weekend, man. What'd you and the girl play, man? Love that Java. Oh, you guys were VR chatting it up, dude? Nice. That's cool, dude. I've never done VR chat, but I know all about it, yeah. Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom? What is this, dude? Holy crap. Oh, are you really, dude? No way. A Fallout map for VR chat. Interesting. Tamagotchi. Yeah, dude. It looks like it's on Apple Arcade. Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom. We'll pull it up. We'll look at it, dude. We're like pulling up all of our articles for the news segment right now. So we'll like, this is kind of the play if you haven't seen us do this. Like, I go through searches to find like all of the relevant stuff that we can find that we haven't touched on before. And then we get all these like tabs of articles that we'll go over and we'll cover for the news segment for the morning. So in just a moment, we'll be done with the search, and then we'll cover everything that we've pulled up so far. And that's one of them. I'm definitely gonna. I remember, dude. I remember being really young when Tamagotchis first came out, and dude, there was like, I'm from a pretty rural place, like a real small spot, dude. And there was only, when Tamagotchis first came out, there was one person in my city that had a Tamagotchi, and I was friends with her. And she would let me play with her Tamagotchi. Don't take that the wrong way, chat. But I would get to play with her Tamagotchi every once in a while, you know what I'm saying? And it was like super dope, dude. That's like nobody else. Everybody else was just like hearing about Tamagotchis. You know what I mean? Nobody else knew. You know, could actually like see one or hold one or mess around with one or whatever. But I was getting to like. I was kind of. We didn't grow up with a ton of money or anything. And those things were stupid expensive too, because nobody could get a hold of one. Man, it was crazy. That's funny, dude. Tamagotchi back into relevancy, dude. Wild. That's crazy, man. We talked about this yesterday, too. I think this is fine. Final Fantasy 16 producer hinting at a younger team possibly taking the reins for producing the next game. I think that's fine. As long as they get back to what Final Fantasy is supposed to be, which is an RPG, not a Devil May Cry game. You know? I think that's the main thing. And I'm not talking about anything that has to do with, you know, whether or not it's turn-based versus action-based or anything like that. They stripped the core of what this game is supposed to be. The core of what Final Fantasy games are supposed to be is, you know, team-based, RPG, character building, you know what I mean? You know, all of that kind of stuff, character progression. They stripped that out of this game for the most part. And it's a very, very shallow RPG. That's not like everything was gone, but for the most part. And they've got to get back to what the core of Final Fantasy is supposed to be, in my opinion. Video, dude. Let's get rid of some of this sports stuff real quick. What else do we have? Yeah, there we go. See if we can find anything else real quick, and then we'll dive into all these. Consoles versus mobiles. Which gaming platform reigns? PC. Actually, if you look at the revenue, mobile, it absolutely obliterates. You can put PC and console together, and mobile obliterates both. So if you're looking purely at like, because there was a recent graph that came out about the over time. I'm talking from like the 1970s all the way up through current time. We touched on it. There's this graph that shows over time. It includes arcades. It includes handhelds, dedicated handhelds, all kinds of stuff. But currently, what is it? PC is at like a 45 billion. Consoles at like 30 billion. And I think mobile's just over 100 billion revenue in total. So all together, mobile is absolutely destroying both PC and console. You could put them together and they wouldn't even touch what mobile's doing right now. It's kind of wild. WB Games confirms tie-in a DC universe. Video games are currently in development. Okay, let's touch on that real quick. And we had heard some of this, like Nemesis system, which was stuff used in the Lord of the Rings games, the like Shadows of Mordor games and stuff, right? Apparently, some of that stuff's going to be used in some of these DC games. So we'll touch on that real quick. We touched on that already. Gaming Bible is just clickbait, dude. I'm not diving in there. Eddie Gordo will be the first DLC character in Tekken 8, it appears. Let's take a look at that. Assassin's Creed Apocalypse coming in March. I don't want to click on Gaming Bible stuff. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's try a different search here. Oh, it's a board game. Okay. That's a board game. If you're interested, you can go check that out. We're not doing board game stuff, but Assassin's Creed: A Brotherhood of Venice is going to be a board game coming in March if you're interested and you're into the Assassin's Creed stuff. Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Well, looks like Gearbox was not immune to the wrath of Embracer, as it were. Embracer has been shopping around Gearbox Studios. Gearbox, notably the developer behind a lot of games, and one of their biggest franchises being, oh Jesus, why am I just brain farting right now, dude? Borderlands, the Borderlands stuff, right? But and we had seen where they were taking shots at some of the subsidiaries that had worked on like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. We had seen that already, but not specifically Gearbox, and it appears that now Gearbox is right in the sights of Embracer as well. So apparently what Embracer was trying to get out of Gearbox, nobody wanted to pay, and now Embracer is also going to be laying off a bunch of Gearbox employees too. Dude, Embracer is looking just terrible. Jesus. Last page, then we'll dive into all these articles. Talked about that already. Instinction gameplay? What's Instinction? Looks like Smite 2 will be skipping the Switch, but that doesn't mean Smite 2 won't be on Nintendo's new hardware, which should be out sometime later this year. I've been speculating for roughly a year now that it would be, late summer, sometime into the autumn, fall time, that we would get the new Nintendo hardware. We've had some leaked information now that's leading us to believe that is in fact going to be the case, possibly sometime in September. That's not definitive. It's not official. Serious grain of salt there, but that's right on par with what I was kind of expecting, and we'll see what happens. And there are a lot of games that have not released on Nintendo Switch because the Switch is super underpowered, right? A lot of games that had, originally wanted to. You take a game like Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact was supposed to release on the Switch a long time ago, and they have found it incredibly difficult to get that game to play correctly on the Switch. There have been a lot of other games that, you could take a look at. Why did they even release it on the Switch? Like Mortal Kombat 1, you know what I mean? To be fair, look, this is the sentiment that I'll go back to all the time. If you can't do it right, don't do it, man. But we know that these studios are more worried about making money than they are actually doing things correctly. Yeah, so shame on NetherRealm and WB for, releasing MK1 on the Switch. It should have never been done. It's a hot piece of garbage. But it happens. We know why it happens, and this is the way of the gaming industry, unfortunately. But the Switch has been underpowered for a long time. They probably should have had new hardware out years ago. I've been saying that for a couple of years at least. And with the new Nintendo hardware, we should probably see a lot of more modern games be able to hit Nintendo's hardware, as it'll be not as handcuffing to developers as the modern Nintendo hardware is. It's significantly constricting to developers. The Switch hardware is. It's just old. It's just super underpowered, and a lot of the workarounds that the developers need to do to get their software to play on the Switch is not worth it, you know. So we'll see what happens with the new hardware, though. Smite 2 might be on there. A lot of other hardware or software probably will be. All right, man, let's dive into all these articles. Let's go. Oh, Jesus, what a way to start it off. God dang it, dude. Oh, dude, it's so brutal. We can't have a single day, you know, streaming and doing video gaming news without talking about another massive layoff in the tech/gaming industry, whether it be, you know, the most recent thing was basically talking about Twitch laying off a third of their employees and their CEO trying to justify it, which was absurd. And now we've got Embracer and their, you know, next domino to fall, if you will, in laying off a sizable portion of Gearbox. Support studio Lost Boys. So we had kind of already heard about this, but let's go ahead and touch on it because it's appropriate. It needs to be talked about. We again ended 2023 on a note of the final article we did for Video Gaming News for 2023 was a very well written article talking about how the amazing releases for video games of 2023 was completely overshadowed by the terrible state of the industry when it comes to employment, right? All the layoffs and things of that nature is just terrible for tech and gaming. And our hope was that this wouldn't roll over and keep going into 2024, but it absolutely has. It did not slow down at all. It's just riddled already. 2024 is, unfortunately. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday, but we'll go ahead and touch on it again today. Embracer has laid off a sizable portion of Gearbox support studio Lost Boys Interactive. The studio provided development support on the Borderlands series and most recently, specifically, the Tiny Tina's Wonderland game. So Lost Boys Interactive appears to be the latest developer to suffer heavy layoffs. Lost Boys, which was founded in 2017 as a support studio, which has worked with Gearbox on a number of projects, including Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderland. In 2022, the studio was acquired by Gearbox, which in turn is owned by Embracer, and saw its staff grow to over 400 people following the acquisition. However, as reported by Aftermath, the studio was hit on Friday with numerous layoffs. Although it's not yet clear exactly how many employees have been laid off, former studio producer Jared Pace posted on LinkedIn that it had been a sizable portion, including himself. Still, quote, still trying to understand the scope of it all, he added, but sadly, this is a song and dance we're all familiar with. Embracer announced in June that it was implementing a restructuring program, which would involve the closure of studios, layoffs, and the cancellation of some projects. The big catalyst behind this was the fact that Embracer apparently had put all of their eggs, if not most of their eggs, into this basket of doing a deal with the Saudi Arabian government, or aka Savvy Games Group. Savvy Games Group is the business front that the Saudi Arabian government uses to invest in the gaming industry, right? And apparently there was a $2 billion deal, billion with a B, that was being done between Savvy Games Group / Saudi Arabian government with Embracer, and it fell through last minute. So upon that happening, Embracer has just started shuttering subsidiaries, firing mass amounts of people, and it has been non-stop since the middle of last year. It has since shut studios like Saints Row developer Volition. They were one of the first casualties of this situation. Volition, which was a 30-year studio, right? They started off, if I remember correctly, as a studio under the name Parallax, if I remember correctly. They made games like iconic games like Descent and Red Faction, games like that. And then more recently, They were called Volition. They did games like the Saints Row games, stuff like that. To be fair, their most recent Saints Row entry was not very good, but it's always brutal to see a company of that renowned and that much age in the gaming industry just get obliterated by their parent company. Campfire, Cabal, and Free Radical Design, while others have reportedly been put up for sale, such as Borderlands maker Gearbox. Yep. This is a looks like a tweet from Jared Pace. Stop me if you've heard this before, but Lost Boys Interactive announced today it was letting go of some of its team, including myself. Please reach out if you know of someone in need of a producer or really any position. It looks like many disciplines and experience levels were affected. During its second financial quarter ending in September of last year, the company made more than 900 layoffs, with cuts impacting such studios as Crystal Dynamics, Beamdog, Zen Studios, and Fish Labs. Last month, Embracer also made layoffs at New World Interactive, 3D Realms, and Slipgate Ironworks. Job losses across the games industry were widespread last year and don't appear to be slowing this year, as I spoke about at the beginning of this article. Companies impacted by layoffs last year include Media Molecule, Codemasters, Xbox, Epic Games, Sony. I'm going to go back. I'll list all these. Let's go back. CD Projekt, Unity, Ubisoft, Riot Games, Blizzard, BioWare, Striking Distance, Team 17, Frontier Developments, Telltale Games, Digital Extremes, Amazon, and Digital Bros. So this is just to name a few, okay? And some of the bigger ones, for sure. Epic laid off just 850 roughly at the give or take 10 or 20 at the end of the year. Xbox and Microsoft laid off between gaming and tech. I mean, dude, it was thousands. It was a lot. You've got Unity, who just recently, even in 2024, laid off another 1,500 people. And to be fair, I kind of, I don't think Unity is going to survive. If they do, it's going to result in, them having to be bought out. That this debacle of them trying to just railroad customers with a whole new pricing scheme and stuff was disgusting. And to be fair, even their own employees were so pissed about this management tactic of not involving the entire business as what was going to be happening here. They were very outspoken, which leads me to what I want to talk about here. Let's go to Sony. This will be a nice segue. Talk about Sony. Sony, we found out here recently, and I've talked about this many times, but Sony keeps coming up. They've laid off a lot of people too, and one of the most recent iterations of them laying off people was them forcing one of their best first-party developers in Insomniac Games to fire people, and then days later announced that PlayStation is having a record-breaking year. So, I mean, what are we supposed to take away from these scenarios and these situations, right? Epic Games, Tim Sweeney's a multi-billionaire, right? He owns Epic Games, multi-billionaire, firing 850 people when they've made these business decisions over the past couple of years of buying out, companies like Bandcamp and stuff like that, and then turn around and have to sell them and fire a ton of employees out of those companies and everything before they even, sell the companies and stuff. The only thing that I can assume here is that, and we always get the same default stupid kind of, announcements out of these companies whenever they fire people, like, we really care, we really we want to do everything we can to help these employees, we wish we didn't have to do this. But it always seems like the first thing they do, right? The first thing they do is go fire people. If it seems like their numbers aren't matching up to what they want the numbers to be, they fire employees, right? And I can't help but think that when you take this Sony situation into, take the Sony scenario with them making Insomniac fire people, and it also announcing PlayStation having their another record-breaking year, and we look at the gaming industry as a whole of being record-breaking profitable year on end. You know, it's incredible. Is there going to be a little bit of maybe coming back down to earth, as it were, for a little bit of overhire maybe from what the pandemic necessitated, because the gaming industry became so big during that time period where everybody was staying home and needing to find different ways to engage in communities, which online was the place to be, right? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But dude, most of this can't be blamed on that, right? I think there's a lot of bad business decisions that have happened. And who pays for those bad business decisions? It's not the people that made those business decisions. The people that are at the top that make these business decisions in the first place, if they don't play out, they're still getting their bonuses. They're still making their stupid, huge 6-7 figure salaries. You know, the people that suffer are the ones that are, you know, lower to mid-level employees that get canned. And we never get any clarity. We never get any kind of transparency about what's really happening in these studios. It's the same default explanation we get all the time, the same statements for publicity that we get. You know, sorry, I need more coffee, dude. That is, you know, it's just a default bullcrap explanation. It's like, well, you know, we're suffering, company's suffering, you know, and we needed, you know, the only thing we could do was, you know, fire people. And even look, I mean, we even had underneath Sony, again, I'll use Sony as another example. Their subsidiary in Bungie is crumbling, and we know that Bungie and their game of Destiny 2 was one of the 12 highest profiting games on Steam last year. But Bungie is crumbling right now. How? Why? Which means that there's some serious mismanagement going on in Bungie as well, right? And then whenever there was quoted being a meeting for Bungie employees where they were talking about cutting all of these morale boosting kinds of programs they had set up for the employees. It was apparently at one time a very nice place to work. They had a lot of extracurricular things to help employees out, it was really good for morale and stuff like that. Made it a place where people wanted to come, be a part of, more of a family kind of experience. And then all of it got nixed. All of it got cut. And then the, you know, people were getting fired. And there was an ask in one of these meetings during all of this, where one of the employees was asking higher level management, has anybody considered not taking bonuses or, you know, taking salary cuts or anything like that from the top to try and circumvent these issues to where we can try and save jobs, save our family, you know, our work families' jobs. And the response back was, we're not that kind of company. You know, I mean, it's a disgusting thing to hear, but it's, yo, Maxine, what's up, friendo? Illuminati, baby. That's what I'm talking about. It's a disgusting thing to hear, but it's also not all that surprising, you know? It's, we don't get transparency. We never find out from these companies exactly what has happened here, what's led them to these situations. Whenever it seems like they're doing very well, honestly, most of the time it seems like they're doing very, very well, but they're still just slaughtering their subsidiaries. And it's not the people, even if they're not doing great, the people that made these bad business decisions are not normally the ones that seem like they're suffering. It's the people that are the lower people on the totem pole that they go, we'll just cut all these people out. Even though they're the ones that were really the basis for us getting to where we're at nowadays. You know, they're not the ones that should suffer, but let's go ahead and we'll just, we'll fire them anyways, you know. It's a terrible look. And it's a really, really daunting, I think, future for anybody looking to get into technology and gaming, as to what you're going to have to experience to be a part of these industries. It's gross, man. It's gross. I feel like a broken record. You know, I feel like a broken record. We have to talk about this stuff day in and day out. But I mean, it's relevant and it's appropriate. And we should be raising awareness about these kinds of things that are happening, because we don't get transparency. And until we do, I'll keep trying to raise awareness about what's going on here, because it feels really, really gross. It feels really disgusting. It does. Moving on. Maxine. Haven't been here in a while. Glad to be back. Yeah, always glad to have you, friendo. Instinction. Let's see what Instinction is. How have you been? What's up with you? What's new, friendo? Instinction. Let's see what we got here. Instinction gameplay shows off a Dino Crisis fan's dream. Oh my glob. New Zealand-based developer Hashbane Interactive has shown off the first look at Instinction gameplay, and we've got it here for you below. Announced back in February 2021 and promising lots of dinosaurs, Hashbane said Instinction will offer up a modern take on an age-old cult classic, a dinosaur survival game with modern mechanics and a compelling story. Today, Hashbane described the title as a first-person prehistoric action-adventure with a wide linear campaign. Gameplay will offer quests, puzzles, combat, and exploration. Hashbane continued, explore the rift filled with all manner of prehistoric beasts. You will need to be resourceful and quick-witted. Only the brave survive. Let's see what we got. Dude, this is a long trailer. Check this out. It's flipping cold, y'all. I can feel it. It is cold. It is negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It feels like negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chill. God dang it, dude. I can feel it. Inside, I feel it. You know? Heater's running. I can still feel it. Got engaged to be married? Yo, congratulations, friendo. Nice. Nice. Love to hear it, Maxine. Yeah. Want everybody to be happy, man. That's great. Congratulations, my friend. That's awesome. Here you go.
Now that we're friends, is it okay if I pet you?
Best I can do on an engagement gift.
Thanks, dude.
Engagement gift sub. There you go.
OutsiderAntics gifted Maxine_Daughtry 1996 a subscription.
Yeah, for sure.
OutsiderAntics gifted a tier 1 sub to Maxine_Daughtry 1996.
I need about a gallon of coffee today. I'm getting hungry too. Raptors! That's right, Tinwin. Hopefully there's a blue one and Mario comes out and tames it, you know? Yeah, yo. Thanks, Maxine. Yeah, congratulations again. That's awesome. Tinwin. Gotta get Mario out here to tame these raptors, dude. Yeah, Maxie. That shake weight jam, you know. Oh, I need to turn off my music while we watch this. My bad. It looks good. I've been seeing like a resurgence of a lot of dinosaur themed games, man. We just saw another one the other day. What was that called? Sun and Bone or something like that. I'll pull it up and show you. Holy crap, dude. Jesus. Oh, run, dog. There's going to be a whole pack of those things on you. You better get out. Yeah, that's right. We're sliding through this gap. Kappa. Hey, it's Littlefoot. Bro, y'all wouldn't stand right there. Pterodactyl gonna come down and swoop you up, son. Be a nice bird dinosaur lunch. Just yeet it, dude. Just yeet it. I would. You just gotta take a risk and jump sometimes. Interesting. PlayInstinction.com for release on PC and consoles. Pre-orders are currently available. Alpha access Q3 of this year. Interesting. Late last week, finally got a proper look at what Hashbane has been working on, the first part of the gameplay series that will continue through 2024. First video occurs very early in the game, Hashbane said. Protagonist Izzy is still getting to grips with the situation. Second part of the series will focus on combat between human and dinosaur AI, while the third part will detail destruction, swimming, and reveal another unique mechanic. Alpha access to Instinction is planned for later in 2024, with a full release aiming for late next year. Planned for release on Windows, Xbox One and Series S and X, PS4 and PS5. Interesting, man. Is it actually It is. It's on Steam. Instinction. Check it out. We'll add it to the wish list. We'll pay attention as this moves forward. If you want to see it on Steam, here you go. Nice. I'll pull up this other dinosaur themed game too. Show you. What was it? Sun and Bone. Yeah, look at this one. We watched this the other day too, and this gives me like kind of Turok vibes. It's like a modern Turok kind of game. Check this out. This looks like a PlayStation proprietary game though, I think. I want to say this was like an indie dev though, too. So we'll take a look. I can't remember. Bunch of dinosaur stuff, man. This guy was hunting beefaloes, dude. He was hunting these cows, you know, and then all of a sudden this dinosaur came up and was like, "That's my cow." And he was like, "Bro, I was hunting that cow." Got like a Doom vibe to it almost, like Turok, you know what I mean? A little bit wild. There you go. So quite a different game than what we just watched, but both dinosaur themed, right? Yeah, Sun and Bone. What all is this releasing on? Yeah, 2024 to PS5. Yeah. So if you're interested in this, I'll just link the video to you as well. There you go. All the dinosaur themed stuff. Eddie Gordo will be the first DLC character in Tekken 8. He'll be one of 4 fighters added to the game during its first season. Tekken 8 well on its way. Bandai has announced that Eddie Gordo will be the first DLC character in Tekken 8. A new trailer showing the game's opening movie ends with a short clip revealing that Eddie will be released in spring of 2024. Eddie was always wild to play, man, back in the day. He will be followed by 3 more characters set to release in the summer, autumn, and winter, making up the game's Season 1 character content. Initially appearing in Tekken 3, Eddie is one of the more popular characters in the game, but also one of the most divisive. Fans like his elaborate, capoeira kicks, but others think the ability to spam, I probably butchered that. Capoeira. I might have butchered that. Think the ability to spam these kicks makes him an annoying character to fight against. Yeah, he's like one of those characters you can just get into and kind of, button mash a little bit. The previous game, Tekken 7, launched on consoles with 36 characters, but added a further 14 over the course of 4 seasons of DLC, including guest fighters like Negan from The Walking Dead, Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, and Geese Howard from Fatal Fury. As such, it's likely that Eddie will be the first of many fighters set to be added to the Tekken 8 over the course of the game's life. Tekken 8 will be released later this month on January 26th on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Where is the... They didn't add the, Oh, a new trailer showing the game's opening movie ends with a short clip revealing that Eddie... Okay, so we'll just watch this. This is actually what it is. Where's Soup at? Soup would be jamming right now. Soup would be like, "Oh yeah, Tekken, bro." Bam. Jax. Where's King at, dude? King. King.
So remember.
That was Yoshimitsu, wasn't it? Nice, dude. Did I not see King in there anywhere? What was that? Did I just miss it? Oh my god, dude. It's flipping Eddie, dude.
Coração ardente, mas cabeça fria.
Eddie was always dope, dude. Sick. He looks sick too, dude. Nice. I like it. Yeah. He's dripping, dog. Nice. That's cool. WB Games confirms tie-in DCU video games are currently in development. James Gunn says they'll be AAA. I would expect that. In the midst of a report about Hogwarts Legacy strong sales this past holiday season, Warner Brothers Discovery Games CEO David Haddad disclosed that DCU tie-in video games are currently in the works. Now, let's be very clear about something real quick. Warner Brothers is very, very adamant about doing games as a service also. So what we were kind of talking about earlier with, games being, and this is kind of the world we live in, but we got to be very careful too. We were talking about, we were talking earlier about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and how it's a AAA price tag game. $70 for the base game, $100 for the deluxe game, or deluxe version of the game, and then it's just riddled with monetization. This is where Warner Brothers wants almost all of their content to go. They want it all being there. Games CEO David Haddad disclosed that DCU tie-in video games are currently in the works. David Haddad, head of Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, recently spoke to Variety about the studio's Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Legacy, selling over 22 million copies by the end of 2023. Haddad began the interview by highlighting the success of Harry Potter game, stating it brought Harry Potter to life in a new way for gamers, where they could be themselves in this world, in this story, and that's what the team at Avalanche set out to do when they were developing the game. I think that's really why it resonated so well and remains the best-selling game of the year in the entire industry worldwide. That's a position that typically is held by one of these incumbent sequel games. We're so proud that we've been able to break into the top ranks. It'd be terrible for them to actually address the terrible PC version, but, they never wanted to. However, it was later confirmed that in addition to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Multiverse, and single-player action Wonder Woman game from Monolith, WB Games is also working on tie-in video games for James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU. Haddad stated a very consistent message coming from the executive layer at Warner Brothers Discovery is the importance of franchises. There's a unique and important role games have in keeping our franchises relevant, resonant, and exciting because there's plenty of fans and plenty of people consuming content where games are their starting point and it's their preferred form of content. Now, let's be very clear here. We've had Marvel, we've had superhero games here lately. Even take Gotham Knights. You know, Warner Brothers is going to play. They own a lot of these IPs. They're going to play a lot of these IPs really hard. It doesn't mean they'll be good. Just because they go, yeah, they'll be AAA games, doesn't mean they'll be good. You know, we know they're pushing hard towards games as a service. We saw what they did with Gotham Knights. It, you know, was not a fully finished product, to be fair. It had pretty bad writing in it, apparently. The gameplay wasn't great. It had issues on release, performance-wise. It was locked at 30 frames per second for an action game. That doesn't feel very good, you know? So they are going to be leaning heavily on the fact that people like the superhero universes, whether it be Marvel or DC. And they're going to be walking a line of I think, whether or not people are going to be buying into these with the notion that they're just going to be good automatically. I would prompt people to be hesitant here about, I mean, James Gunn being a name that is associated with these games is great, but James Gunn isn't typically known for video game stuff, right? He makes great movies, you know. I would say that he makes pretty solid pieces of cinematic experiences. I think it's great. But just because he's good at that doesn't mean it's going to translate appropriately over into bringing us fantastic pieces of gaming software as well. So I know that this has a lot of people stoked, but I think that it's a kind of a wait and see kind of situation here. This is the first indication from Warner Brothers video game division that they support Gunn's grandiose plans to build a cinematic world that spans all mediums. When first unveiling the Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters slate, Gunn stated, "What we're doing with the DC is we're having animation tied directly into live action. Television, movies, and games all intertwined within the same universe. We're going to cast actors that are going to be able to play the characters in this, as well as in other things, some of which we've already cast." Haddad understandably declined to get into specifics on what DC video games are presently in development, but given the diversified Chapter 1 slate, there are clearly a lot of possibilities. Could be a tie-in Superman Legacy game secretly in development that will see the cast reprise their roles. A third-person Peacemaker shooter with John Cena providing the voice and motion capture would also draw a lot of interest from gamers and comic book readers alike. Fans wasted no time posting questions to Gunn on social media where he's already chimed in. AAA games, yeah, okay. We've seen plenty of AAA games be total balls, too. Stay tuned to CBN for future updates. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's not a lot to take away from this, really, to be fair. Tamagotchi, dude. What? Interesting. Interview. Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom was forged by joyful nostalgia. Tamagotchi as a brand has endured for multiple decades, even beyond nostalgia. Consistent evolution of the devices, which are now completely internet compatible, rechargeable, and wearable, have inspired all ages appeal across generations. Kids who grew up in the 90s played with Tamagotchis, had them banned in certain schools. Kids who grew up in the 2020s are doing the same. Now with cross-media projects like the excellent Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom on Apple Arcade, there's yet another way to connect and reconnect with the enduring, universally appealing franchise, one that continues to enjoy success in the modern era. Perchan Lai, publishing lead at Bandai Namco Mobile and executive producer of Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom, cross-generation connection and nostalgia formed by Tamagotchi served as the basis for the game's development. Speaking to Games Hub, Lai described hopes that it will be a game that allows parents to share their childhood experiences with their own children. Alls. The brand is linked to a joyful nostalgia for today's parents who remember having a Tamagotchi toy and their childhood caring for it, perhaps even having a strong memory of it, Lai said. They know that it's a great experience that their own kid can now experience safely, a way for them to share their own childhood. Not only that, but with 3 decades of accumulated lore from tie-in media, including their other games, television series, and online websites, that childhood joy is now fully explorable, as players can visit the world of Tamagotchi Planet, as well as an accurate recreation of Tamatown, which briefly served as a hub for Tamagotchi Connection owners. For the Bandai Namco and mobile team, creating Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom was a chance to dive deep into this established Tamagotchi lore, giving new and old characters chances to thrive in new quests and storylines that illuminate more about the strange, wholesome world of the Tamagotchi. Quote, "The world of Tamagotchi is both funny, absurd, bizarre, but also always joyful, and we have taken great care to capture this atmosphere in the dialogues and quests that you experience," Lai said. With adventure games comes exploration. We have completely recreated in 3D several iconic locations from the Tamagotchi universe, like Pachi Forest, Guru Town, and Tama Street. Players will have to meet the inhabitants of these places to help them with their daily troubles and sometimes metaphysical, philosophical issues. No joke, wait until you meet Balloon Pachi. With the Tamagotchi universe serving as a backdrop, Bandai Namco Mobile aimed to craft a massive open world littered with recognizable, nostalgic moments while also providing a layered narrative. The game's plot may revolve around crafting and gathering items for a cast of lovable, adorable creatures, but it also speaks deeper issues, including environmental disaster. As you take your first steps into Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom, you come face to face with a Meteorichi, a meteor Tamagotchi who has crash landed on the surface of Tamagotchi Planet. While apologetic, their impact is widely felt across the planet and causes great geysers of energy to spill from the earth. Tamagotchi hot springs are drained of their water, bridges crossing rivers are shattered, and each Tamagotchi town is cut off from one another. Where a younger player may see simple problems to be solved, adult players can appreciate Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom for its exploration of real-world climate change. In Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom, each Tamagotchi gets its own chance to tell its story and reveal the impact of Meteorichi's descent on their livelihood. Gumachi, a scary bear Tamagotchi, discusses how the hot springs makes him feel more human and bring him comfort, and fixing them allows him a safe space. Like Stardew Valley and Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom contains its narrative within its cozy game structure. On the surface, you're taking on tiny requests, befriending townsfolk, and building out a wonderful home. Yet when you engage more deeply, you can see how Tamagotchi Adventure Kingdom wields its charming nostalgia to encourage connection and care and taking time with friends. It looks cute. Tamagotchi Adventure is now available on Apple Arcade. There's a link here. Is this actually, I wonder if this is actually reviewed. It's got two ratings right now, which are pretty good, but it does look like it's on iOS as well as Apple Arcade. So I don't know. If interested, take a look. There's a link here for it as well, so I'll link this for you guys. Tamagotchis, dude. There you go. I'm absolutely in love with the Atari 400 Mini, a recreation of one of the first ever gaming computers. Let's see what we got here. The system is a miniaturized version of the classic 8-bit Atari 400. The 400 Mini is able to emulate the whole Atari 8-bit range and the 5200 console. Comes with 25 preloaded games with the ability to add more via USB. Preloaded games include classics such as Berserk, Boulder Dash, Lee, Millipede, Miner 2049er, Mule, and Star Raiders 2. It can output 50 and 60 Hz 720p video via HDMI and includes 5 USB ports, meaning it should support the limited number of games that could be played by up to 4 players. Keyboard is likely to be too small for actual typing. System does support external keyboards, so you can mess around with a basic programming language if you want. Retro Game says the 400 Mini supports modern USB game controllers, even has a rewind mode, which allows you to rewind your gameplay by 30 seconds, giving you a chance to beat a particularly troublesome level. Ugh, Jesus. I'm not a fan of all these games coming back out with these like rewind systems. I'm sorry, dude. I'm just too much of a traditionalist. Like, if you're having too much trouble, you can just rewind every section until you beat the game. I don't know, dude. I'm not a fan of it. But whatever. I guess giving people the option is you know, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. It's set to launch on the 28th of March exclusively at Amazon. Interesting. Take a look if you're interested. Let's take a look at this One X Player X1 gaming handheld. It's got also an Intel Core Ultra attachable controllers and an OcuLink support. So this is running Intel processors just like the recent MSI Claw that came out of CS. So let's take a look here and see what we got. It looks like a tablet, really. One Netbook has just announced the launch date of its new X1 3-in-1 gaming handheld powered by Intel's new Core Ultra 7 155H Meteor Lake CPU. So you can see it's a pretty big screen, it looks like. It's got these attachable controllers for the side. The new X1 features a bigger 10.95-inch. Most gaming handhelds that we're seeing come out of developers are about a 7-inch screen, whereas this is 11, so roughly, you know, almost 4 inches bigger. 2.5K LTPS display with a smooth 120 Hz refresh rate with the Intel Core Ultra 7 155H processor featuring 16 cores and 22 threads of Meteor Lake CPU power at up to 4.8 gigahertz. At the same time, there's an NPU processor for AI workloads clocked at up to 1.4 gigahertz. Yeah, Intel Arc GPU, just like the Claw. You can see it here without the controllers, but with like a keyboard attached. Some stats for you. The new X1 gaming handheld with its new Core Ultra 7 155H Meteor Lake CPU will duke it out with the new AMD Ryzen 8040 series APUs inside of new products like the Mini S Forum V3 tablet and more. The new X1 gaming handheld features OcuLink connectivity, so you can hook up the new One X GPU external graphics to your handheld for a huge boost in gaming performance. No pricing revealed yet. Official launch is taking place on January 16th at 14:30 Hong Kong time. So if you're interested, you can get some links out of this. But we'll probably see more when it officially releases, and we'll get some comparisons there probably. Sony taking a new direction with upcoming PlayStation games. Let's see what we got. PlayStation is the most successful and widely played video game console in the world, owing much of its success to its impressive hardware that can deliver mind-blowing visuals of their blah blah blah. Let's go. Transition from traditional games. Despite the outstanding success of PlayStation games, Sony has decided to take a bold and risky move by shying away from their time-tested formula in favor of devoting more time and resources to producing live service games. We've talked about this. They took this pivot while Jim Ryan was still at the head of the company. And now they're kind of shying away from this again. They did have like 12 that had been announced. Or announced that there were 12 in development. They hadn't all been announced officially. But they had told us there were about 12 live service games in development. This isn't anything new. They've actually shied away from this now. Jim Ryan's out. They've gone, we're not as devoted to this live service, aim as we previously were. We're going to kind of pivot away. They took about half of these games and I think actually axed them. They were like, we're not going to be doing about half of these anymore. So this feels a little bit, when was this? I don't know. It feels like an old article that just got like a new date on it or something. Resident Evil 2 remake by modders surfaces online, leaving gamers impressed. This is actually kind of wild. Again, in the face of what Capcom is doing right now to kind of they've implemented their own DRM process to eliminate the potential of allowing people to mod their games anymore. We talked about this. I've got an article on Twitch where we discussed this. It'll be up on YouTube in a couple of days, probably on Wednesday when I have more time to work on it. But it basically comes down to the fact that Capcom, and with they threw a fit whenever a tournament took place where somebody accidentally started up their Street Fighter 6 game and had a nude Chun-Li mod on it, and I understand from a business point of view that you can't let that kind of thing happen, but also it feels like they went a bit too far here. It's not like they haven't also been a catalyst behind also just constant every new iteration of their Street Fighter games that come out. Their characters are more scantily clothed and things of that nature. You can go look at on ESRB, which we did the other day during that article, and it just talks about how what you can expect. A lot of jiggle physics, you know what I mean? It's very most of the female characters are very risque, if you will. It promotes sexuality in their games, and so what did they expect to happen with they were real close anyways to being on that front, and then somebody modded it to where one of the characters just wasn't wearing clothes, and then Capcom throws a fit. They really brought this upon themselves, but then they took it too far, and they're like, okay, nobody gets to mod our games anymore at all, and so it's not a good look from Capcom, to be honest. They did this to themselves, and the modding community does great work. They really do. Is there always a bit of some wonky weirdness that modders come up with to play games and everything? Yeah. And whatever, as long as modding isn't being done to provide an advantage to certain people in a competitive online multiplayer games, then whatever. People have fun with modding in single player games and everything. Whatever, it is what it is. It's cool. And a lot of times modders actually are a great help to the gaming community and providing quality of life options that the developers didn't implement, performance improvements that the developers neglected. I mean, you name it. Modders do a lot of great work for us just as a whole, and Capcom's throwing a fit right now, which feels really bad. So with that information out there, if you weren't aware, Resident Evil 2 remake by modders surfaces online, leaving gamers impressed. So let's take a look at this. Half-Life fans have been left hanging for the third installment of 2 decades now. Although Valve released the VR experience Half-Life Alyx, it didn't give the community exactly what they wanted. While it might seem like Valve has abandoned the idea of Half-Life 3, fans have been using the Source engine to recreate other classic games on the platform. One fan of Resident Evil 2 took it upon themselves to remake the game using the Source engine. The mod was created in 2018 with a few updates to it over the years, but recently its resurfacing on Twitter has most of the community hooked. A modder by the name of Bloodwrath uploaded a Resident Evil 2 remake mod for the game Half-Life. The mod was uploaded in 2018 and was last updated in 2020, although the mod is quite old today. It resurfaced on Twitter, and gamers are rushing to get it. The post shared a clip of a player exploring the map in the game. Players can spot some of the most iconic locations from Resident Evil 2, and the mod also has zombies with mechanics like the original games to make it more of a rounded off experience. The Half-Life mod comes in at 1.27 gigabytes, has been downloaded by over 500 people after the post resurfaced. Mod was uploaded with the full game with the storyline, and it comes complete with all the puzzles too. The post received over 271.2k views on Twitter. Fans took to the comments to praise the mod, with many gamers being happy that they have a reason to reboot Half-Life. Nice. While the focus was on the mod, most gamers started fixating on the spelling error the original post had, killing two birds with one stone. The user stated, "So glad they remaketed this game." So glad they remaketed this is game. So glad they remaketed this is game 100. While this gamer was excited to see the mod, they stated that Capcom would be quick to take the game down due to their crusades against modders. Exactly, like I was just talking about. That's awesome. Can't wait for Capcom to immediately take this down on frame one with no remorse due to their crusades against modders. Yep. Another gamer was excited to see the remake while saying it looks like a Left 4 Dead mod instead. Some love was shown for the game engine that was created in by this fan. Amidst the long list of compliments and jokes, there was one criticism about the gun's fire rate from one player. Mod was quite well received by the community, and the players who tried it out favored the game. What do you think about the mod? Yeah, if you want to give it a shot, I'll link this for you. Yeah, but I feel like Capcom is probably going to take this pretty quick and get rid of it. Unfortunately, it feels bad. So the reason I have this up is because I haven't talked about this in a while. I talked about it when I pulled the article up, but I just want to say how absolutely disgusting it feels that Naughty Dog is remastering a game that's not even 4 years old. Okay? That's disgusting. It feels terrible. There's two different issues going on in the gaming industry right now. You have this issue with games that you've got a game that's not even 4 years old that's being remastered. There's no reason for that. Absolutely not. You're going to see screenshots side by side where you might tell a little bit of a difference, but ultimately it's not going to be that much. And this shows me that Naughty Dog is running out of ideas, and they're scared to try anything new. And it feels really, really, really gross to me. I hate to see this kind of thing. It's disgusting. On the other side of the coin, we have other companies that are re-releasing 13-year-old games like RDR1 by Rockstar, a 13-year-old game that not only should it have been remade, but at 13 years old, a remake is appropriate. At the very least, a remaster. And they didn't even touch it at all. They ported that game over in its original state and charged everybody $50 for it. It's disgusting. Both sides of the ball game there are gross. They're both scams. It's disgusting to see. And both of these companies should be called out. Any company that does this kind of thing should be called out for this. It's disgusting. There's no reason for it. It's gross. So, I'm not going to dive into this. You know what I mean? It doesn't, in my opinion, there's no reason to promote Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. It shouldn't be promoted. It shouldn't be bought. Shouldn't be paid for. It's implementing what? A roguelike gameplay mode, which if you know what Sony Santa Monica just did, and my buddy and longtime community member here, Tinwin, we just talked about earlier, Sony Santa Monica gave away DLC for God of War Ragnarok at the end of last year. DLC, a roguelike mode, gave it away to their fans to say thank you for making our game so successful, right? And to be fair, if Naughty Dog wanted to remaster their game and add a roguelike mode, they should have given it away to the people that already owned it or whatever. And really, this game didn't need a remaster. They should have just added a roguelike mode, given it to their people that already owned the game, and added it in as free content for anybody that purchased the game moving forward. They didn't need to remaster this. And they should have just done this as a thank you for their community of fans. This is a disgusting thing to see. They wanted to try and suck more money out of people. They were like, how can we do that with The Last of Us right now? Well, let's just go ahead and remaster the game that doesn't need it. And we'll add in a mode that, we'll try to say, well, this is something else, too, that we can, say that deserves money. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's terrible to see. and nobody should be buying into this. People go, well, you know, you only have to pay $10 to get the upgraded version. You shouldn't have to pay $10. You know what I mean? You should get this for free. If you already own this game, you should get the remastered version and the skins. And it doesn't need a remaster right now. It doesn't need it at all. Peter, what's up, friendo? How you doing, man? It's been a while. How you doing, buddy? How was dude? I don't even know if I've seen you since the holidays. Have I seen you since the holiday? How were the holidays, man? And how was your weekend, dude? Last article I have for the day. If you guys have anything to add, let me know, and we'll address it before we move on, okay? And play Fallout New Vegas for the rest of the day. One of Xbox's best games of 2022 is finally heading to PS5. What are we talking about here? One of the best games released for Xbox Series X and S consoles back in 2022 is finally making its way to PS5 later this month. What are we talking about? Releasing at the end of this month, Immortality has recently been announced for PS5. Developed by Half Mermaid, Immortality is the latest game from creator Sam Barlow, who previously is known for his work on Her Story. In addition to launching on Xbox Series X and S back in 2022, Immortality also came to PC. Now it will be making the jump to PS5 platforms on January 23rd and should retail for $20. Yeah, it was put up for a lot of awards and everything. Yeah. It's got an impressive 88 out of 100 on Metacritic from critics. Here's the trailer if you want to watch it. Most of us know what it is, but that's good, dude. It's also on Netflix if you want to play it there. Cool. Went by too fast? Always does, buddy. Yeah, always does. Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, you know what I mean? Yeah, love to hear it, dude. Love to hear it. I'm glad that everything's been good, man. Yeah, I'm doing well. We've got our tentative schedule up for this year, man. We got this popping off, so we got our schedule kind of built up. We just finished Baldur's Gate 3. We got soft locked out of Alan Wake 2. I wasn't a big fan of that game anyway, so it's like, whatever. It's over. Feels bad all the way around. I wasn't a big fan of the game and got soft locked out of it, so it was, whatever. and now we're just trying to finish up Fallout New Vegas before we move on to some new games to play for 2024, man. Yeah, for the new year. But that's kind of the tentative schedule for the year right there on that Google Doc. If anybody wants to check it out, if you haven't seen what we got. Baldur's Gate's really good, dude. It's really good. Yeah, it really is. It has its issues, but it's a massive flipping game, dude. Larian did a great job. They did a great job. They have some things that they need to still flesh out and work on. The getting a lot of the rest of your party and summons and stuff like that to follow you around and everything is really brutal. It takes a lot of micromanaging and stuff, which feels really bad. That's not good. It's got its quirks and stuff with like they did a really good job with like fleshing out battlefields with like multi-level and stuff, but it makes it the camera that you have for the game makes it really hard to see the different levels and stuff that you can actually play within and on and everything. Not as bad as others though. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, the game does feel fairly finished. Whenever it first released, full released. Now, it was in early access for like 3 years, right? When it full released, Act 3 was pretty bad, apparently, which is where Baldur's Gate is. And it's a town, a lot of NPCs, stuff like that. It was pretty bad with being able to have smooth gameplay. A lot of frame drop, a lot of stuttering and stuff for a lot of people. But at this point, it felt pretty good for me. Pinky and I played it together, and it felt pretty good. Overall, the game's a fantastic experience. Menu options not saving yet? Yeah, I think that all got worked out. We had an issue where, with the big 5th update they pushed out in November, they incorporated an epilogue. So when you finished the game, it kind of went through a final kind of run through of what happens with your characters and everything. But in our first ending, we didn't get an epilogue, so we had to go beat the game again the next day so we could get an epilogue. You know, it's got its little issues and stuff, but overall, the game is deserved to get the rating that it has. Really, I think you know, I love RPGs and I love CRPGs, and I think for me, the game itself and what it brings to the table of really setting the bar higher with the incredible amount of flexibility that you have in the way to address taking care of completing quests in many different ways, or you know, getting around obstacles or addressing different situations in the game in many different ways is fantastic. I mean, it's an impressive feat. It really is. And you know, it set the bar very high for a lot of games moving forward, and how to do that kind of thing. And also just the amount of you know, like the writing's fantastic, the voice acting's fantastic. Every time you interact with another NPC or character in the game or anything, it's always a close-up kind of cinematic view of them talking and interacting and stuff, which is very, very good, you know. And it's you know what, the game has, like, I think over what they say, over 17,000 different endings that you can get potentially. You know, it's a very, very deep game. It's very fleshed out. It's very you know, free, if you will, for how you can address so many different things and how you want to play the game and stuff like. I mean, it's just incredible, and it was a great experience. I think personally myself, I didn't have as much of an enjoy. And a lot of this comes down to just the difference between, like, what I've experienced in some different games as opposed to it being a traditional Dungeons and Dragons experience. I think it's built on the 5e rule set of D&D, you know? And for me, if you took, like, a game like Pillars of Eternity and you took a lot of what they did so great in Baldur's Gate, you know, and you mixed those together, then I think that, you know, for me personally, it would be like the most mind-blowing CRPG that could ever be made up to this point, you know. But they nailed it, dude. Larian nailed it. They did a lot of things very, very well. They've still got things they need to flesh out and get better and stuff, you know. But overall, fantastic, you know. Overall, it's very good and deserved of the high praise that it's received to this point. I truly believe that. I think that, you know, seeing a studio do something like that at that kind of price point and get that much, you get a ton of gameplay time, you get a ton of replayability out of it, you know, and they ask nothing more. There's no monetization, you know, there's no battle passes, there's no skins, there's no, you know, there's some stuff that I think they definitely could incorporate into the game to make it a more seamless experience. You know, you get so many abilities in the game that, you know, some of them are like movement abilities. Some of them are abilities that require your character to engage in what's called concentration, you know, part of a D&D mechanic. And then other ability. And if you're concentrating on one spell, you can't do another concentration spell, right? Without it, like, basically making you lose a turn and stuff. And you get so many abilities that they don't give you any way to, like, sort all of the abilities and spells and everything out. And group them according to, like, what kind of ability. You can do it yourself, but you get so many, dude. It would just be like, they need better quality of life in the game for stuff like that, you know, just to auto sort it by, like, movement, concentration, you know, attack skills, ranged spells, you know, stuff like it. They just need a little bit of better quality of life, little bit better camera stuff, a little bit better with the following kind of aspect of the pathing and everything in the game for your companions that are following you around. But overall, it's fantastic, man. It's just amazing experience, and it's a testament, I think, to, you know, a contrast as to what we see so often in the industry anymore, with what I guess how many of these companies try to just wring us for as much money as they can, you know, for such an amazing experience at how many hours you can really get out of this game, even in a single playthrough. If you really just immerse yourself in the game and what it has to offer, we put almost 200 hours into our playthrough, you know. It was like 190 or something like that. And at $50, dude, that's incredible. 50 or 60 bucks, whatever, that's an incredible amount of entertainment. And the replayability is insane too, so you can just keep getting more and more if you want. So I highly recommend, highly. And Larian's a great studio, I think. I think they deserve a lot of praise for it, for sure. Yeah. Highly recommend it, man. That's the news, though, guys. We're going to move on. We're going to play Fallout New Vegas today. So I hope everybody's staying warm. If you're freezing like I am, it's flipping cold, dude. If you're not freezing, then I'm jealous. And, you know, send some of that warmth my way. But we're going to go play some games. Hope everybody is having a great start to your week. Thanks for being here and being a part of the news. It's good to see everybody, as always, and we'll go play some games. But if anybody's been hanging out, you're not familiar with what we do, or even if you're seeing this as a VOD later on, you know, we're always looking for more cool people to be a part of what we do when we are live. We always start off all of our streams 6 days a week at roughly 6 a.m. CST, CDT, with video gaming news. We don't stream on Wednesdays, but every other day we are normally live, and we begin with video gaming news, try to stay current with what's going on in the industry, talk about a lot of these issues that are plaguing the industry, promote a healthier video gaming industry for us as gaming enthusiasts and consumers, you know. And after that, we play games for the rest of the day like we're about to do right now. So if you can dig that, and you are about a kind of wholesome, welcoming, cool spot to hit, chill and play games and engage with people, man, come be a part of what we do. We just try to be void of toxicity, negativity, have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs and stuff like that. So if you can dig that, come be a part of our community when we're live, man. We're always looking for more cool people to be a part of what we do. So other than that, all of our other content, you know, previous content we've done, whether it be gameplay playthroughs, funny clips and highlights, video gaming news segments, clips out of the news segments, stuff like that. A lot of that content can be found on the Twitch channel and the YouTube page, so go check that stuff out if you want as well. Other than that, man, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. I'm not going anywhere. Stream's not going down. It's just an easy way to segue out of this video gaming news segment. I'm going to run us an outro real quick, and as soon as it's over, we will get started playing video games, Fallout New Vegas for the rest of the day. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.